I'm a financial advisor in South Carolina, United States. And I primarily look at retirement plans for people 55 plus. And that's my specialty. Um, Help people get to a safe, secure, and improve their taxes for their retirement.
All right, that sounds good. So share with us what your situation is, your challenges today that you'd like some insights on.
Okay, so I met with a couple a few weeks ago face to face. We had a nice meeting. He now I know there's a lot of different opinions out there about annuities, but they are a lifetime income source, and they don't fit everybody.
Sure.
But they were a great option for this couple. And I mean, I'm a specialist. I do this for years, and I looked at it and said, "Hey, have you considered this?" And they really hadn't. He was open to it and interested, and we had quite a nice discussion. She sat there like this, arms crossed, started reading her email. She had a computer in front of her. And so we talked about it, and we had a nice talk, and he was really asking me a lot of good questions, and I was doing my best to answer it, and she's sitting there like this.
Did you happen by a chance to ask her what she feels about the conversation, or check with her?
Yes. Yes, I did. I said, I mean, I'm not going to mince words. I mean, we're sitting across at the kitchen table, and I said, looks like you're not interested, you're not bought in, you're not, well, the answer was my mother had a bad experience.
Ah, right.
So that's personal. So I probably should have asked more about that bad experience right then. However, I think he interrupted and said, well, this is different. And so the conversation took a different turn.
Okay, so let's just stop for a second there. Your intuition is right. So what can happen is if you don't address the elephant in the room at that moment, it ends up dragging down the wrong direction. So in retrospect, if we can roll the tape back, yeah, so she's there, arms crossed. She says to you, I had a bad experience. Even I think what happened was you felt like he was interested, so you kind of focused your energy back to him, as opposed the ideal thing would have been to stop everything right there and then and to say to her, let's just hold off for a moment then. Can you share with me a little bit about what happened with your mother, what the experience was, so I can understand what you're thinking is before we even consider the idea of moving forward at all?
Yep. And that's, this is rewound in my head 100 times since since I knew we were going to be doing this on this Stump the Guru. And I thought, that's probably it. And it's always interesting, 2020 hindsight, right? But
of course.
The good news is he's still interested. We're going to meet again. We were meant to meet Friday, but it'll be next Friday.
Okay.
So I think we'll meet again face to face. So I think the recovery is probably, tell me, but it's, hey, before we go anywhere, let's discuss, right?
Yes. So your goal now is to get to the truth of what has not been brought up yet, which will be a roadblock for you along the way if you don't address it now. So if you can get a meeting again with him and possibly her again, what I'd probably do is start the meeting with focusing on her and say, look, I've been thinking about our conversations, and you pull the plug and you say, I'm not quite comfortable moving us forward towards this direction yet until I fully really understand what your experience was with annuities and your mother experience was, so I can understand what your concerns are and address those first before we consider moving forward, because I don't want to move things forward unless you're comfortable. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah. Perfect. I like it.
And just stop the momentum right there and have it all come out. And I will tell you, it's not easy to have the courage to do that sometimes, because we have someone who wants to buy and someone who doesn't want to buy. Our intuition is to focus on the person who wants to buy. And we just kind of use the hopium. We hope that person convinces the other person to do it. But the reality is we have to address everything in front of us and not be afraid to get the truth. And that's why you have permission now to stop any process you're in with somebody when you sense any hesitation. and really get the bottom where they're at and clear the decks before you even consider moving forward, because it's the only way for you to feel comfortable knowing that this is gonna happen. Because I don't want you to go into these processes kind of hoping it will happen, but knowing something might stop it, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And when I walked out of there, I mean, I did talk to her, and I said, let's. Before I left, we were standing by the door actually, and I remember I said, "Well, let's make sure that you're comfortable." So I did at least open
Sure.
that door, and I said, I want to make sure that you're okay, because it's clear you're not. I mean, I didn't mince words. I said it's clear you're not. So I think I have perfect entree to do that,
Yes.
and I think I just needed here today. It's a classic sales situation for people in my business, because
Yes.
what happens is sometimes, oh, I make all the decisions, and then you find out they don't. And I mean, I was in corporate sales as well, and we know that a lot of times people will say they make the decisions, yet they don't.
And also, when you do talk with them again, you talk with her, spend some time really understanding what went wrong and what they bought, obviously, and what the miscommunication was. Then address what the actual issue was. Then you can say, oh, I see. Now I understand what went wrong with that situation. What happened was X. And you identify and address the actual problem that occurred. And then you can say, well, we are very aware of that, and we do not do any of that. So you can really sort of pinpoint the exact problem went wrong in the process with her mother.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So get into the detail. Go drill into it, you're saying.